What's up, everybody? Shawn here, back with another live Live to Roll. We're back for Mental Health Awareness Month, talking a little mental health and all the issues that we might deal with and how we deal with those. So let's get into some intros and we'll get into this topic. I'm Shawn. I'm a C5, C6 quadriplegic from a snowboarding accident 19 years ago now. So, Tom, go for it, bro.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Tom Conway, C6B quadriplegic. Happy May 23rd to everybody out there, and happy Mental Health Awareness Month as we wrap up this beautiful, beautiful month. And yeah, we're here, excited to talk about mental health stuff. It's one of my favorite topics. I deal with mental health issues all the time, and I think it's a super, super important one to talk about. So, Bobby, you want to take it?
Yeah. Well, we're starting already because I am mental, so I'm mental
Exactly.
like when our show hasn't even started and we get a thumbs down. I mean, somebody must really love or, our mental issues. But
Hey,
uh,
like or dislike the video, we do appreciate that you're here regardless.
yeah,
Uh, you
but
know, we love it. We love
uh,
everybody.
it's a bummer. We haven't even hit the, you haven't even seen these, great, ugly mugs and you already hit the thumbs down. But oh well.
Bobby, yeah, with the
Um,
calling them out, I like it.
Well, whoever it is, we don't know who it is, but because it doesn't tell us the likes and dislikes. But I'm Bobby Rohan. I'm a C5 quadriplegic of 35, 34 years, something like that, and from a bicycle accident. So take it away, Shawn.
Yeah, so we'll get into mental health. What's up in the chat, Andrew, Sari? How are you doing today? Um, Hope everybody's good.
What's
But yeah, so I was gonna the girls did a mental health chat last week, and I thought it was really good. They got pretty real with some of the stuff they're dealing with, and I thought it's been a while since we've talked about some of that stuff. I know we bring up our issues here and there, so I thought it would just kind of be a good thing to deal with or to talk about. So yeah, that's what we'll
Oh,
get
I'm
into.
dealing with it, Sean. We're sorting through my issues today. You guys are about to therapize my ass, so
I
get
know,
ready
dude. That's
for
what we might turn this into just like a group therapy session, but but if it helps
it.
anybody in the chat, and it might help us, so and
Well,
that's
I,
what me and
I do
Bobby.
like just before we get started, I think it's important to say like the most profound positive part of my mental health that like has sustained me and maintained me and helped me, be as healthy as I am today is group support. Like here I got Bobby and I got Shawn, I got the whole Live to Roll fam. But before Live to Roll, I was going to, Northridge support group and, one of the Triumph sponsored support groups. And, it's the family support and, the friend support. And, that I think I just wanted to start out saying it. I think a group support is probably one of the best, most beneficial things if you do find yourself, being alone, feeling alone. Even if you're okay being alone, but still struggling with mental health, sometimes finding, a group of outside support, I think can be a huge, huge positive benefit. And it's probably the biggest positive benefit to my mental health is kind of finding a group like this, finding you guys, finding Live to Roll. But, before that, Triumph and, the whole community and family that I've found, in the last decade. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, I
you know,
agree. Sorry, go ahead, Bobby.
yeah. Well, I was going to say, Peter's right. Mental health is a sensitive issue, and it can be sensitive, and sometimes we feel vulnerable when we open up, and especially in those groups, as much as they can be beneficial, sometimes they can be very scary, and sometimes we have a hard time, letting others know, how we're feeling and what our thought process is, with the, hoping that somebody doesn't put a label on us and said, "Wow, he's whacked." He's a nut job if he's feeling like this or going through something like that or taking this kind of medication. So it can be sensitive, but it does help. And I think the more that we can be real with ourselves and real with others, especially close friends, and not be so closed. And I tendency to get closed up a lot from time to time. you know, it's it's not healthy to keep everything all balled up inside, as especially as men sometimes do.
Yeah, I know.
I call it turtle mode. Like I go into turtle mode, like pop up in my shell, and I stay in my apartment and I don't talk to anybody. And if anybody asks me if I'm okay, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, everything's fine. But I just hide. I really do. Like I'll hide and I'll turtle up, and it's not healthy. It's like the most unhealthy way of like dealing with my depression and dealing with, like when my mental health is really taking a toll on me. But it's something that takes time, and it's like a learned thing too. Like we learn how to take care of ourselves, we develop mechanisms to better deal with those moments when we're feeling down. And I think part of that turtling up and like hiding from the world too is it is just such a sensitive thing. Like I feel very vulnerable. There's even some embarrassment that comes along with feeling depression and like feeling down, which I it's not like fair 'cause it shouldn't be that way for anybody. But regardless, it's still kind of how I feel sometimes. When I'm really struggling with it, I almost feel like it's something I gotta hide because like I'm broken down. Like I'm fucking up somehow, or like my brain's not working right. And the last thing I usually want to do is like admit that to the world or to other people, or so it is very sensitive, tough, vulnerable thing. But I think it's something that the majority of us can really relate to and understand too, because I don't think there is a single person out there that doesn't deal with, mental health struggles from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I think. What one of my issues is the like kind of putting up, bottling everything in and putting up those kind of fronts when I go out and stuff, and when I do see people. I do have issues with being vulnerable and like being like and showing that I am depressed or that I do have issues, but I do. And I'm just I feel like just coming to terms with stuff, or like I'm maybe just coming, it's becoming more prevalent in my life and something I want to deal with as I become older, I feel like, and something I feel like I need to work out, and stop kind of just putting it to the side and blocking things because I don't think that's healthy. So, do you guys do any therapy? I was going to ask that, because that's one thing I've actually looked into recently. I was talking to Jessica about it from the women's show. I was talking to her at the sports festival, and I couldn't use her because she's a friend, but she does have other therapists and stuff there. But do you guys talk to anybody, or do you guys have you since your injury?
I did some online sessions like over a year ago. I did like 4 or 5 of them, and not for it wasn't for me. At least that particular psychiatrist wasn't for me. At least that was my experience. I think it can be really beneficial and super helpful, and I'm not knocking therapy. And I've probably been one to maybe judge the practice in the past. I've since learned and become enlightened. I think it can be healthy, but it really comes down to finding the right person, the right therapist that fits and works with you, and is someone you feel good and comfortable talking with. Because I mean, shit, I could talk to anybody, but and maybe this is like vainness in me, or like again, other like flaws in like my personality, where I don't know. I just feel like I'm talking at someone who doesn't understand or relate to what I'm dealing with, even a little bit. So whatever they say back to me, it just feels like bullshit, or it doesn't feel super genuine, almost disingenuous, because it's like they're trying to um, understand or listen, but without any perspective as to like the trauma and the struggle that I have gone through and experienced day in and day out. That isn't, again, like on my side, the healthiest way of thinking about it. Again, like therapists, psychologists, they are there to help give you tools to deal with some of those struggles and stuff, not necessarily like understand and relate to your trauma and stuff, they're just there to help give you some tools in your belt to help you deal with some of that stuff. Again, my experience with it, I just wasn't feeling the person I was talking to, so I decided not to continue with it. Um, I do know that it's there though. If I do want to try to find a different therapist, and I really do suggest anybody who's dealing with really serious mental health to make sure that they do talk to a licensed specialist in that department, and help that be a part of your journey of recovery and healing.
Yeah, for sure. Bobby,
So
have
to
you?
answer your
Bobby.
Yeah, I have. I have seen people on and off for a long time. Um, uh, Back in the 90s, I went through a pretty hard breakup in the sense I did the breaking up, and which is hard to somebody who I was going to marry and a fiance. And I'm thinking when I met her, it was like, oh my god, I can't believe I met somebody. And as a disabled person, it's always first whew, okay, I met somebody, and then we were together for a long time. And when I kind of recognized I wasn't being that same person that I want to be, and by some of the boundaries she was putting on me, and uh, it just wasn't going to work out. And when I went through that breakup, I went and saw somebody for a while. I wasted a lot of time on myself and my healing for that, because I would talk about everything under the sun except my problems for that week or that month. And until the last, I mean, I would be watching the time, in the last 5 minutes, I would bring something up. And she was just like, oh my gosh, you are killing me every time. See you next week and we'll talk about it. And I always diverted, the conversation another direction until maybe, after seeing that person for 3 years. And then I worked on that and myself, um, and it helped a lot. And a few years later, I met my wife, so I think it paid off. And I met somebody who's just right for me. And then my wife and I have seen people to get a therapist together. I told her about it, and I said, we had a lot going on with her son at the time. He had a lot of problems with substance abuse. So, it put a strain on us. You know, and she's dealing with myself, and my stepdaughter was also disabled with a seizure disorder. So there was a lot of issues that we said we don't want to interfere with our relationship. And so we saw a therapist. We sought out a therapist, and it worked for us, and it's great, and we love it. And from time to time, we still see her. We don't see her on a daily basis. And then also on my own, I see somebody from time to time, about every 2 months, and then also now, and I'll bring this up and be getting very personal. Um, with all the health issues I went through last year, and then at the end of the year getting the COVID and going through the heart problems, and pretty much almost dying, and now I have a heart condition, and then needed another surgery not too long ago. It's putting a lot of strain on my mental health, and recognizing I was going a direction I didn't want to go to. So I talked with my therapist, and we got a psychiatrist so I can maybe try some meds and see if that was going to help out stabilize some of my moods and not be so snappy. And I was scared. My dad deals with mental issues. He has all his life, in my opinion. And he's a man of someone that just loves to be balled up, gets very angry when you discuss it to him. He wasn't he was a great dad, but, he had a lot of family issues, and a lot of issues, going through having a son that was disabled. Um, and he's just never really dealt with a lot of his own personal issues. And when we recognize the sign of his early onset of Alzheimer's, versus forgetting everything, we said a lot of that has to deal with depression. Dad, We need to get you help. And man, no way. He was very about not getting help. And, you know, if we bring it up to this day, now that he has been tested for Alzheimer's, it's just, nope. I don't know why you kids want to push this on me, but, so he just ignores everything. And that's what he's done all his life. He sits there in front of the TV and that's his day. Um, and it's sad and it's hard. And I recognize
Well,
that. I don't want to become somebody like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a stubborn son of a bitch myself. At least I can be. It's something that, again, uh, you learn. I'm very lucky. I'm so lucky to have been taught the things I have in my life from my mom and dad and my family and my friends and my people, strangers and everything. And I just feel very lucky that I have that capacity to learn and at least change in some regard. And I mean, I'm not perfect. Nobody is, but um, understanding and having the capacity to change and to change bad habits and to try to, get yourself out of bad, mental health practices. Is something I think it's important because I can be a stubborn son of a bitch, just like angry quad. Like I laugh at that comment, like I'm fine, I'm just angry because I relate to it a lot because I feel that way too. Like I am fine and I'm Tom and I'm happy go lucky and chilling, but like beneath the surface, I'm pissed off at a lot. I'm not just pissed off at like I'm pissed off at a lot of shit. I'm pissed off at my fucking legs. I'm pissed off at my pain. I'm pissed off at, the social services that, make it impossible to save money and to function normally in society and get a job and do all this shit. Like, I'm fucking pissed off all the time. And that does bubble to the surface sometimes. I'm pretty good at managing that and dealing with it. But I don't know, I just think it's so funny because it's so, gosh darn true, too, at least for me. But finding a healthy way to deal with that anger, finding a healthy way to deal with that frustration and stuff, that's where, like the good mental health practices come in because I think it is okay to feel that way. And, it's perfectly normal to, um, especially dealing with a lot of the stuff that we deal with. Like anger is a perfectly normal response. But if you're angry all the time and like that attitude and that mental state begins to affect your relationships and affects your friendships and it affects your physical health and other things in your life, that's when it's like shit, okay, I got to deal with this in a different way. Like, okay, it's okay to be angry sometimes, it's okay to be upset sometimes, but I can't be that way all the time, and nor is that like healthy or just an okay way to live. Um so find ways to deal with it. And there's lots of different ways to deal with it. I'm not here to like give, like the one simple answer to positive mental health practice. I think a lot of it is, and just that word exactly, it's practice. It's, trying to put yourself in a different state. It's trying to do things that help make you feel better, when you're feeling off. And it's learning and practicing too to not take that anger out on others that are trying to help you, caregivers, significant others, family members, things like that. Because I think it can be a very natural response for a lot of people, including myself at times. Um, but again, recognizing that stuff, recognizing the not healthy nature of a lot of it, and then doing better, changing those habits. You know, that that's a big part of it. If I hope that some of that made sense. I'm gonna toss it back over to Shawn or Bobby.
I'll say this on that note, Tom, though, be careful always. I think the older we get, sometimes that is harder to manage and keep it all balled up inside. I think it's that term, grumpy old men. There's a reason why we have grumpy old men, is because they've always kept everything but bottled up and never worked on those mental health issues. So it does tend to wear him, and my dad is one of them. He's definitely a grumpy old man. You know, if I talk to him anything about anything but watching something on TV, it's like, Dad, no, you should eat a vegetable once in a while. No, why? It's just, you know, Dad, you should clean up around here. What's wrong with it? So, never can make any suggestions. Um, and it sucks.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, that's where I mean, like, turn those negative mental health moments and don't lean into it with more negativity. That's where, it's like comes down to the responsibility, of yourself to find better habits, to, you know, count the things that you're grateful for. That's like one thing that my mom taught me that I'll never ever forget in my life, because it's like one of the things that like most helps gives me some perspective and makes me feel better is I'll just sit there and think about what I'm lucky and grateful for. My family, my friends, all the amazing things that I have, my wheelchair, my independence, the health and function that I do have. Um, I'll give myself a treat. I'll play some video games and escape from reality for a little while. And if I'm feeling bad, like come back afterwards. Give myself a little bit of a break, um, and finding whatever that is for you, because it's different for everybody. It's like a lot of people think like mental health, and even if you're being told like, "Hey, man, you're messed up," like you seem upset all the time, you don't look healthy, you're lashing out at everybody and stuff. It's like nobody can fix that for you. The only person that can fix that is you. It's like that old say, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Like only you can change your mental health. Only you can start to form better habits and practice better mental health practices, and um, do those things yourself, because nobody's gonna can just wave a magic wand and fix it, or say the magic words that are just gonna make you feel better, because all that struggle, all that difficulty is still there, and we gotta figure out healthy ways of dealing with it.
yeah, for sure.
How
That's
do you deal with it, Sean, when you're feeling like shit, when you're pissed off, when you're hurting, when you're in a really bad depressive state? What do you do?
I mean, it depends. Sometimes I just need to take the day. Like sometimes, and today almost turned into a day for me. I had a really rough night's sleep. My spasms were just off the chart, like crazy, crazy. Just no, it was just I don't know. Really rough night. Had to have the catheter change. Just woke up, just kind of. I was really irritable this morning. I was in a bad mood. Like I was honestly pretty pissed off. Like I was even getting like I went out to come out to the studio here to do something on the computer real quick. The dogs all started barking in. Like I come in, I'm yelling at the dogs as I come in. Like normally I come in like even when they bark at me when I come in, I greet them like, hey, it's like give them some love. I literally was like, "Fuck you, dogs! Like, get out of my way!" I was pissed off. And for me this morning, it kind of just took like a little bit of just me time and relaxing. I before the catheter change, kind of got into bed and I started stretching a little bit. Just took some time to myself, and then I did take like a shower and stuff after I had caregiver come, and I literally just sat in there for like 20 minutes in the hot water and just kind of decompressed. Um, and that today helped at least. And then also being on the show, like you mentioned before, the group therapy, just talking to your friends and peers and people you care about, it helps so much and just mentally kind of like brings me back up. Um, but some days it doesn't work for me. Some days I just need to take the entire day and I'll just be kind of pissed off. Like I won't maybe do much. I'll keep to myself. I will be kind of quiet. But on those days, I kind of try to do the same thing once I get like once I'm winding down, I'll smoke my bowls. I'll kind of let my brain just get a little bit of like decompression, relax, um, and then just try to go to bed with the thought of tomorrow will be a better day, and I just try to have that positive mentality. Um, Sometimes it doesn't work, but most of the time it does work for me. But most of the time, I can get up the next day, and kind of like, and I'll try to make sure my first thoughts are positive. And I know that sounds like I don't know, cokey or something, but like really, just like positive mindset can breed like just so much like good things. And so that's what I've just started to do. I forget where I saw that, but I try to make my first couple thoughts like, this is gonna be a good day. Things are gonna go like try to have that like mentality that everything's gonna be good, and fake it till you make it. And hopefully that day will just it continue to go, and it will become positive, and it will be a good day. Um, and if I need to, I'll call somebody, like, or talk to a friend, get on a support group. The Triumph support groups have always helped me as well, these virtual ones and stuff. So just anything like that usually does help. Talking to somebody is beneficial, like just a friend, even if it's not about my problems, just kind of to forget and talk about something else.
Angry Quad said it too. Stay active and engaged is a really important one. I can't tell you how many times like I've been feeling shitty and really upset and just having a hard morning and a hard day and in a bad mood, and I'll just push myself to go out and engage and get what I need done and socialize and stuff, and I'll be wearing it. I'll be wearing the fake smile for the start of it, but so I'm not faking it anymore, because it's just how I'm feeling. And it's just, changing my environment, getting some sun on my skin, like staying active and, getting some endorphins, going to my body and, just feeling like physically okay too. It's staying isolated, staying sedimentary, not moving, kind of staying stuck where you are, feeling shitty is it's gonna likely stay that way. It's not likely to just magically change, unless you make some conscious decisions to change your environment and to make some changes and what's going on directly around you and to make a conscious decision to have some positive thoughts and to try to find and focus on the positivity. Just like Shawn said, it's like what I do, when I'm like, you know, sit back and remind myself of the things I have to be grateful for and stuff. That's focusing on the positive, and that focusing on that love and focusing on that positivity and those things I'm so lucky and grateful to have in my life. Like, that does help me feel better because it reminds me, and it's focusing my mind in a positive way rather than dwelling on the negative and just kind of feeding into that anger, into the negativity, which I do sometimes too, because I don't know why. Like, that's how my human brain is wired. And, like I just get pissed off and frustrated at life and at the world sometimes because, hey, there's a whole lot of shit to get pissed off and frustrated at. But I don't let myself stay there. I don't get stuck there. At least I do my best not to. Um, I'd be lying to say that I don't get stuck sometimes because I do, but
Yeah.
I do my best to, you know, stay healthy, stay active, stay engaged. Exercise is a big part of it too. Keep your body moving. I can't tell you how tied, like physical well-being is tied to mental well-being and vice versa. My dad told me this thing. It's an acronym. It's called HALT. If you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, you got to stop what you're doing and change some things in how you're operating. Whether it's feed your belly, rehydrate yourself, surround yourself around some people that love you and are your friends and your family and your people. To get some rest if you're feeling tired, because I can't tell you how many times. I mean, most people know it. If you get hangry, you're hungry, or if you're tired, your attitude or your mood can
Those are
just be.
my worst. That and then cold. When I get too cold and my neck gets that like super cold, so that's my hungry, my tired, and cold are my like don't fuck with me. Those are the Sean's in a bad mood. Don't mess with him, right? He doesn't need to be messed with.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, the loneliness one is hard too because one,
Loneliness is hard.
a lot of people feel like maybe that's one of the sources of their depression or one of the sources of uh, that is loneliness. It's sometimes it's hard getting out there meeting people. Sometimes it's hard, when you want to meet somebody or, how do you do that in this day and age? And being isolated, with a disability and stuff can make that even more difficult and 10 times harder and make that seem, the impossible feelings that, you know, like how do I overcome this? How do I get out of it? That can be super hard too. Um, that's where finding support groups, finding the local groups, whether disability related or not, finding other peers to connect with, even online nowadays, I think can be huge and make a huge difference. Again, not super easy. It's not always easy to kind of put yourself out there to try to meet new people or to enter a new space and engage like that. But definitely possible, and certainly, um, if you are feeling that way, something to think about, consider doing as well. but
Absolutely.
yo, sometimes getting through the day is a huge achievement, and
Yeah, I was gonna.
that's absolutely true.
And I think we've said it many times. It's okay to be angry and having those days where it's just not. You want to be outraged and you want to have that blow up, but when I feel something like that, and from time to time, I kind of take to telling first my wife, today you're going to have to leave me alone. Don't worry about it. I just it's just one of those days, and I'm can't tell you what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong. Let me figure it out first. And then I look at it, and the first thing I do, and I've talked this about this app many times, but I have the Calm app. So first thing I do is I get on Calm, and especially this whole month of May, I've been really working on my Calm app and my breathing. And I take 10 minutes for the mental, 10 minutes for the breathing, morning and night now. And so I get at least 40 minutes of mental, um, you know, awareness for myself, and feel my body and let it heal itself. And then, another thing that I've been trying to do is really track my sleep. I wear Apple Watch, and I'm looking at my sleep. And when I don't get the right amount of sleep, I write down that the next day I'm not feeling well. So I'm seeing this pattern. So I'm trying to go to bed earlier now and rest up and get that good sleep. Try to turn off that, the tube or my book off early, and it really pays off.
Um,
That's good.
Totally. I don't use Calm, but I just have my own calm system, whether it's like putting on something that makes me feel good, that makes me laugh, shit makes me cry, like just pulls me out of my own, mental space, distracts me for a little while and, lets me do just a little mental reset. Again, I'm so, so lucky and grateful to have the people that I have in my life. And, I can't tell you how many times I've just been feeling like life is almost fucking impossible. And then, I talk to my sister, I talk to my mom or my dad, or talk to my girlfriend or just a friend, or talk to Shawn or Bobby. And like after that conversation, I don't feel that way anymore. Like whatever was said, whatever love I got, whatever energy I got from that exchange was like enough to just help me reset. And whatever kind of like dark rut I was stuck in, it just like whew, pulled my wheel out of that rut. Now I'm on a different path and I'm feeling a little bit better. Um, Yo, Brianna said in the chat too. She has this app that she uses. It's her daily affirmation app, and it is awesome. Because, and we've all got tied up in it because every time we're hanging out, it's like she'll get a little affirmation, and it's just like her phone telling her something positive, which it's just like a little positive reminder, which I think is really awesome and really beautiful thing. But um, finding that it's different for everybody. Um, Finding that thing, it's tough. And again, it's not the same for everybody too. Apps, meditation, things like that are great. Not everyone is wired the same way. So, you know, that could be different for you, and that's perfectly okay. As long as the activity is wholly healthy, um, I I think you're fine. Um, But I also just want to go back to what Bobby was saying. Your physical health, what you're doing to your body. If you find yourself feeling bad and you're asking yourself, why am I feeling like this? Look at what you're doing. Look at some of your routines. Look at the food that you're putting in your body, the number of hours that you're sleeping, the amount of water that you're drinking. Um, are you getting any exercise at all? Are you getting any sunshine? And that could be hard depending on the area that you live in. Being super low in vitamin D, and like you're missing actual, like physiological things that contribute to how you feel in your head. That is, I think, just something that not a lot of people consider. Um, how much caffeine did you drink in lieu of water and natural energy, and how much nicotine have you consumed in light of like not doing that? And maybe are some of your feelings related to, again, some of that stuff, even weed. um like I can't, like, a lot of times chilling out, smoking a bowl, relax me. If I'm feeling like shit, if I'm feeling physically bad and stuff, absolutely, like I'll feel a whole lot better, until I'm maybe not high again, and then like all the physical hurts are still there, and I'm still kind of feeling fucked up and having a hard time. But we can also exacerbate like some mental stuff for me if I'm feeling really depressed, if I'm feeling dealing with things that I'm stressing out about. It can almost be like the opposite of relief, because it kind of hyper focuses me on those stressors and some of that stuff. um and that's not always a solution for me. So it's like, okay, what else do I do? What else can I do? Well, I can take a pack of vitamins. I can make sure I'm feeding myself well with like yogurts and granola and actual like plants and fruit and like healthy things, and not fast food or really processed shit. Do a little reset. I'm feeling tired all the gosh darn time. It's like, yo, dude, sometimes you gotta hop in bed and take a little 3 or 4 hour nap and then go to bed at your normal time and be like, really, take care of yourself, because I'll just forget about it. Like, I'll go days or weeks and I'm missing some of these key components of like my physical well being, and I'm just feeling like shit. And I'm like, why? Oh, well, dude, that's why, bro. Like, you're not taking care of yourself at all, and like doing those, feeling physically better, even things like drinking water and stuff, like I don't feel like an immediate positive change. But I, again, like, if you do these things and make those positive, healthier habits, like I promise you will notice a change, and it will help your mental health because you'll feel physically better. Physiologically, you'll just be operating more optimally. Hope that
Yeah.
makes
Absolutely.
sense.
I got a question. I'll answer. Angry Quad was wondering what breathing technique I do. There's several ones I found on YouTube that are great. Sometimes it's a big deep breath breathing. A lot of times it's breathing and listening to your body in the sense of watching your stomach rise and deflate, and shoulders going up and down, and listening to that body of taking an inventory of your body with breathing. So I do a lot of different types of breathing. I find that if I can mix it up, I tend to stick with it longer. If I do the same breathing exercises, then I get bored. So, um, uh, wanted to know, like, for you, Tom, you're probably a little bit younger, but you can probably dive into this in your early teens and 20s. And Shawn, wondering what it was like, after your injury. I mean, did you tend to find that Um, it was easier with your mental because we were younger, and now that we're getting older, it's harder. Were you angry at first when you first got disabled?
Uh,
um you want to go first, Shawnee boy?
sure. So yeah, when I first got injured, I really didn't deal with it. I don't think mentally, um, fully, and I was very angry for sure. I remember probably like the first year or so, I would think in my head like, just like like that I didn't want to be here anymore. Like it was just like hard to deal with. But I kind of didn't actually deal with it. I just sort of like went on life and was hanging out with friends, and doing whatever, and just never actually dealt with that, and just kind of just started living life. And it just sort of turned around. My life got more positive. I was doing more. I got stronger. And I think that's really what changed in my life was starting to work out, get independent, finding rugby, and like that sort of is what changed my life. But I really didn't actually deal with anything initially. So I do feel like now, as I've gotten older, the last few years especially, I have been some of these like repressed things that I made it not dealt with 19 years ago. I feel like now I'm starting to feel like I need to actually deal with and figure out. Like the depression thing has always been there. Anxiety I've always dealt with as well. And again, I've just sort of like found different mechanisms to get around, but I don't think anything's been super healthy and functional for me. So that's why right now I am trying to take a little more serious look at my mental health. Maybe actually talk to a professional for the first time since being in rehab 19 years ago. Um, and yeah, that's I do want to actually deal with this and become like a healthier, happier human being.
um, yeah, for me, I didn't deal with my injury initially at all because I was just so young. I don't know, like even thinking back to that time, like I wasn't thinking about my disability. I wasn't really thinking about the trauma. I think a lot of that shifted to my mom and dad. It wasn't only until like I became an adult and really gained some perspective to begin to understand like the trauma that my mom and dad must have experienced. Uh, like on my behalf, for me, and then just on their own, like what they both had to go through and experience for a long time. Um, I think I don't know, like they're probably able to teach me so much by having gone through what they did, early on, and I'm just still every day like so freaking grateful for my mom and dad. Shout out to you guys, I love you so much, and I'm so grateful for all that you've taught me and everything that you've given me in my whole life. Um, but I didn't really deal with my injury trauma until I was a teenager, until I was like probably 13 or 14 years old. I was dealing with some serious health issues with my bladder, chronic UTIs. I had to get like a big surgery on my bladder, and it affected like my bladder and my bowel program. I was like just in high school, and it was like a really tough time socially, mentally in that regard, trying to discover myself and kind of find out who I am. And it was also the first time that like the reality of being a quadriplegic like hit me smack in the face. It like all dawned on me that like shit, like what is my future even gonna look like? Like are girls like gonna ever wanna like see me? Like, like am I ever gonna find a girlfriend? Like am I ever gonna be able to live on my own? Am I ever gonna be able to go to college or have some semblance of like an independent normal life? And man, it was brutal. Super, super, super hard. I got super depressed. I know, like particularly, like my mom, like saw like my mental health struggle at that time because like she was, and my whole family did too. But it's really hard. How did I get through it? Love and support from my family and my friends. Talking about it, talking about some of that stuff to my family. Not all of it, because I was really good at hiding it and not talking about some of this stuff, especially things I felt embarrassed or like, weird about, especially like dating and things like that. But just understanding that anything and everything I wanted was certainly achievable. Just might require a little bit more work and some creative planning and problem solving and just some extra moving pieces. And that really was it. Like I did move out, I went to college, like had relationships, and like done everything in my life that I have ever wanted to do, and like continue to achieve and do things that I want to do and discover. Just getting through getting through that understanding. It's like, okay, dude, like there's ways to problem solve this, there's ways to figure this out. Like this might take a little bit more time, it might take more work on my part, and more help from other people, but it certainly is within the realm of possibilities. And also, dude, like be grateful for what you got. Feel good and feel happy and feel thankful, you know every day, with all the beautiful, amazing things you have to be thankful and grateful for. Don't get lost in what if, what might be, oh, what if only, like, and that's impossible, and it's not like a reasonable expectation, but because I think sometimes, we do get lost in like that, what if, or fucking why me, or, but learning to accept, set realistic expectations, realistic goals, work hard for them, and be grateful and thankful for all that I have now, and um, just gain some perspective. So just a lot of learning, um, and it took a lot of time too. It wasn't like one summer or 1 month or 1 year. It was years and years and years of ups and downs, of feeling really down and feeling really frustrated, feeling really freaking pissed off, and in the middle there were other highs where felt on top of the world and felt so strong, and felt like nothing could stop me. And then I'd get hurt, or I'd get a bad UTI, or like some seemingly insurmountable obstacle would pop up, and I'd fall off the cliff again, and I feel fucked up and sad and angry and pissed off. And I just had to learn how to deal with it. And it's something that has continued over the last 10 years since I've been living on my own, and all the obstacles and struggles that have presented themselves in that time, and still experience lots of highs and lows. And I know that I'm going to continue to for the rest of my life. But I know that I have the mechanisms to deal with the struggle, and the negativity and the depression that most certainly will pop up again, is always kind of hanging around in my head. Um, but I've just learned so much, and uh, yeah, focused on um, that awareness too, not getting stuck in that one lane of thought where I can't see the good, or I can't see myself, like out of this rut. Um, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and doing what I need to do to navigate there, is a big thing that I learned and continue to learn and deal with.
Yeah,
Hmm.
man. No, that's good, dude. That's all great advice and just good thought for. I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff that I feel like I still have to learn as well and deal with, and just it's hard, man. It's a long
It's
journey. It's a
part of
journey.
it.
Never.
It's
Yeah.
never it's never ending, and you don't stop learning. And it's not like you find the one solution to like not being depressed. Because like the wealthiest, you know, richest, most famous person in the world, still deals with depression, and the same, maybe not the same shit, but there's similar things, because there's no one thing that I think is like fixes it, like, because that's life. And inevitably negativity and struggle and pain and anger and stuff, like it's gonna be there. And not some people stay there too long or never get away from it. Even so much that your brain rewires to like maybe you'd feel those more, and it's harder to even feel happy and feel past that. But um, that isn't that isn't the way. um, it's not how it has to be. um, that's where getting outside help, speaking to therapists, even medication can go a long way. I think for some people, again, under the supervision of medical professionals and doctors and stuff.
Right.
We're not
No,
talking
not
medication,
self-medicating. Yeah.
not self-medicating. We're talking about actual like mental health treatment. Um, medicated mental health treatment. That is certainly route, and like there's so much that trauma can do sometimes, where you experience such levels of trauma, such levels of struggle, negativity, pain, all that stuff like that comes along with trauma associated with becoming disabled, and it's like that. Sometimes it's beyond just talking, or like doing things that help make yourself feel better, surrounding yourselves with loved ones and stuff. Sometimes your body physiologically changes, and there are treatments and things that can help with that as well, and help you feel better, and help you know get those happy chemicals balanced in your body, um, because there is an imbalance sometimes, and that can really lend to feeling negative and feeling like shit.
Well,
Yeah.
I think, um, like I was saying at the beginning, and Black Olive says setbacks get me down. Sometimes you just get tired of starting over and over again. And for myself, when I first got hurt, I was 17. I had no problems in the world, in the sense of I didn't have to pay bills. I didn't have to go to work. I mean, I was working before my accident, but it was Subway. I mean, come on. Um, I didn't have to worry about a mortgage. I didn't have to worry about a car payment. Um, so, it was easier to get through my injury, I think, than somebody who's maybe a little bit older and has kids and a marriage and a mortgage, and you're the breadwinner, and then that can be hard. And so, and people sometimes, take it pretty rough. For myself, I never took it rough. You know, I skated by. I got back into life real quick. I started volunteering. I started going back to school. I started working, and enjoying life, and especially sports. We all talk about how important exercise and being active is so helpful for our mental state. And I had that. I with playing quad rugby, or going out to play some tennis, or venturing something new with snow skiing, water skiing, and back in the day, I would break a leg, and it's like, bummer, come on, son of a gun, biatch, darn, it's healed. Okay, let's get back in life. And up until recently, in the last 5 years, when it started with a blood infection from a UTI, then it moved to pneumonia, and then it moved to stomach issues, which got me to the colostomy, um, and then COVID hits, and then I break a hip, and then all of last year, and it's just weighing me down. And that's where I talked about, something personal that I didn't know if I would ever tell anybody, but I'll be honest. And this is a place to be honest with my friends here, and you guys on chat. But you know, I was worried that my mental state was gonna just be slammed. And like Michael said it from CNY, it's like climbing a mountain every day. You have to. We don't want to some days, but I was so scared to fall off that mountain. And that's where I seeked out medical professional. I talked to my therapist, and we talked to getting, a psychiatrist to put me on some medication. And I've been doing it now for almost 2 months, and I'm starting to feel like I'm alive again. I feel very hopeful, and I've had a lot of setbacks, and especially with you guys know it more than anybody. I've wanted to, attend all these abilities expo, but I haven't been able to, and I'm still not able to, comfortably, where I can go and take those long trips. And man, that is so wearing. And watching you guys have all these fun stuff, but I know I come first, and that's where I'm going to take care of my mental being, and that's where I'm going to do the breathing and the exercises and get back into life. I started coaching again, and I, Sarab asked earlier, where's, my hand cycle? Well, it's back there. It's moved, and it's finally in a different spot because I'm going out riding now, and getting out there and moving, uh, and being active and engaged in life. And I think that helped with some of the medication that I got. As much as I never wanted to be on something like that, I just knew it was important that, bring up those serotonins in my head, because I've been knocked down a lot lately. And if I wasn't going to get that back into my head, I mean, I was going to probably find myself in a dark spot. And I don't want to. I want to be engaged with you guys. I want to be engaged with my family and my friends.
Yeah. Um, absolutely, Bobby. Bobby's a Bobby's a paragon, man. Bobby's such an inspiration for me. I'll tell you what, like, you just don't want me to give you some flowers for a second. Um, I'm 25 years post my injury too. Couple comments up. Olivia said, like the setbacks get her down. Starting over again and again and again with setbacks, like it feels so impossible. Like as I've like begin to experience side effects of my paralysis that I kind of knew in the back of my head were coming, but feeling them and experiencing them every day, some days, every moment of every day, it's been a new thing for me. And it's been mentally very difficult, learning to deal with pain, learning to deal with, discomfort, learning to deal with setbacks, even like physical limitations, ones that affect my independence, and things that I feel like the only reason I'm mentally healthy is because like I have those things, or I was hanging on to those things. And the last 3 years in particular, like post COVID, right around COVID, during COVID and stuff, I felt myself dealing, struggling a lot more with my mental health as a result of some of those things. Seeing Bobby, being able to talk to Bobby, and Shawn and others in our community as well, because you all deserve it. But watching those guys go through and bounce back and struggle along and deal with the shit that they deal with, but still, you know, positive and healthy way, or as positive and healthy as they can, and getting to the other side and seeing that they are just bumps in the road, just other obstacles that pop up, and not getting lost in the hopeless feeling of setback after setback after setback. You know, again, it's just been more learning on my behalf. Bobby's been a big part of that journey, and just having some of these conversations, like just being able to hear his experiences and like learn from his experiences and stuff has taught me a lot. And one, like dealing with it just in general, and then taking care of myself, and continuing to work and fight for my independence, and my strength, and my bodily function, because you got to stay after it, as frustrating as it might be to deal with thing after thing after thing after thing. You just got to stay after it. You just got to keep working. You got to keep climbing that mountain, because what's the other choice? Giving up? No way.
Nope.
Yep,
um,
exactly.
and
You might
Sarah
not.
said too, be kind to yourselves. It's hard, it's easier said than done. um, but it's so important to take care of yourself, give yourself credit. Sorry, Shawn, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you gonna say there?
Oh no, nothing. I was just gonna say. I was just gonna go back to that. Like, I liked Michael's CNY's quote about climbing the mountain. Like, you don't want to wake up and climb the mountain every damn day, but unfortunately, that's just
Yeah.
what needs to happen. So, like, yeah,
Yeah.
you just got to do it. There's no giving up. So you just got
Because
to
it's
do it.
scary that
What
if
you got?
you don't do it that day, you're going to fall, or miss
Yeah.
miss your hand placement or your feet placement of climbing that rock. And that, I think that's what we get scared of. But
Yeah.
I like the other quote too, for that Van said, someone that's new at this, he says, and I always thought this too, and that's why when I was younger I didn't deal with, I was okay with my injury. I'm like, okay, so I don't walk. All right, boo hoo. I wish I could have been the pro athlete that I wanted to, and a cyclist. But, you know, obviously, God's not done with me. And He wouldn't let me survive. When I had my accident, I heard that I wasn't breathing for a while after my accident until somebody touched me, and then all of a sudden it jolted me. I didn't have CPR, but either it was the shock of the paralysis or what. But I know that he wasn't done, and I always thought that like I guess I got to live and do other things, and that's where I said, the best way to treat myself is also to help others. I've always been that way. And it was, a time when I was younger, helping out friends, to when I was like this swim team captain. I, would always finish my set first and help everybody else out and finish it. But, you know, we're not done here. And we're going to have hard days. And you said it, Tom. You could be the richest person and they're going to still have their mental state. They're going to still have their hard times. You know, you can have all the luck in the world. Sometimes I feel like I'm the unluckiest person, dealing with something, and I just like, God, everything I'm touching is not working. But there's a lot of people like that. They can have the best family and the kids and, the white picket fence, but it doesn't mean they're happy. And we all have to work and we all have to strive for it. Money doesn't change us, health doesn't change us. It's work. We weren't put on this planet to be served in a peach tree dish. We were put on this word to work on ourselves. We've been granted a gift of life, and it's a challenge, and it's been a challenge since day one. The first time we fell and scraped our knee and cried, and up to the day you find out that you don't have much time on this earth, or you were cut off short. That's you know sometimes that happens. And
Well, I think disabilities are such a unique thing in that, and it is trauma. Like obviously, it's physical trauma, that is quite obvious. If your spinal cord injured, at the very least, or usually it's pretty obvious. Um, but then there's the mental side of that trauma that you experience. The loss. The loss of part of your physical identity, the loss of part of yourself. Um, you know, in some situations, like our situations, some part of us that we lost that will likely never ever get back again in the same way. Um, that is serious. That is scarring. That is trauma. Even if it's healed over, it's a scar that nobody can see. It's hidden. It's hidden inside. I think for us a lot of the time. Um, in some instances, it's not even a scar. It's still an open wound. Because that trauma can be so serious and so significant, so lasting, well beyond, our physical recovery from the physical part of the trauma, is the mental recovery from that other part of the trauma that I don't think everybody is as privy to, because it's not as seen. And that one, that's what we're talking about today. That's a tough one. Um, just make sure to give yourself some credit, give yourself some love for overcoming, for healing, and going and surviving that struggle every day, because all of us deserve it. Absolutely. Don't forget that it's an invisible thing that not everyone can see, um, especially if you're good at hiding it you know but I think the only way to really heal is to open up and share it, and to show it, and to talk about it, and, let others know, um, and don't forget that you're just not alone in this mess. I think, at least in my experience, those have been some of the hardest times. Is when I really felt alone with it all. Um, and it's felt like it's too much to handle and too much to deal with, because I think in a way it is. It wasn't until I could talk to others and open up and be vulnerable, and show the hurt inside, and talk about my daily struggles and some of the struggles I've been dealing with my whole life. Some of the trauma that I've been dealing with since I was 4 years old and first got hurt. Maybe never dealt with or didn't deal with for a very long time, because I don't know. I never gave it credit. I never gave it attention. I never really thought it was something I needed to work on healing. It was invisible to me for a long time. But just know that, you know, you, all your feelings are valid. Um, it is absolutely trauma and struggle, we deal with, at least like the disability related stuff. So uh, don't get down on yourself for feeling this way. Um, you know, there's lots of love, lots of support, lots of people that do understand and, want to support you and help you out. And I'm sure could probably use some love and support in their direction too, because that's what we're all here to do. Live to roll is to, share and help motivate and empower and support one another. I think um, at least that's like a big thing I get from it. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure, man. And I know you got to start getting out of here because you got your access
yep.
coming. But Bobby, I don't know if you want to wrap up too, or
Yeah, I'm just one thing. Robert Soda said, "Don't be hard on yourself,"
yeah,
and
that was a good one.
you're said than done, my friend. And I think that's why my therapist always says, "Oh my God, you are so hard on yourself," and definitely I am. I only strive to be the best that I can be, and because I think that's why with all the setbacks that I did, that's why I went towards that. Getting some of that extra help with medication. That I am so freaking hard on myself. So luckily sometimes recognize it. A view from my chair. I wish I can figure out what it is I'm supposed to do with my paralysis. That's a tough and you know, when I say, you know, go out and venture out of trying different things, volunteering. When I first started after my accident, I was like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. And a year after my injury, I found myself in a bowling league at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and pushing a ball down a ramp and drinking a beer. And I'm like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I started volunteering at the hospital, and that was awesome, and I got purpose out of it. And then it kind of guided me. Look for classes, look, you know, it doesn't come overnight, and I don't know how long you've been dealing with your paralysis, but you know, it getting out there and doing something and being within people, you'll see that it changes, and that's what it did for me.
And what would you be doing without without it? I mean, outside of maybe some extreme sports or something, like that might be, like a little physically difficult to overcome. I'd say like lead with your heart, lead with your, mind in your heart as to like whatever you want to do. Don't think of it as, finding something to do with your paralysis. You do what you want to do. The paralysis is just along for the ride. It may present some obstacles and some, things you got to overcome to get there. But, like your paralysis is the alarm for your ride, not the other way around. You're not being dictated by your paralysis or along for the ride. It's taken on you. You do what your heart wants to do, and you find a way. Um, Certainly, it's always easier said than done, and I do like really like feel your comment, because I've like felt and thought exactly like that before, but I retrained my brain a little bit to think a little bit differently, and again, I it's impossible to not think about your disability and stuff, but sometimes I think you do got to figure it about a little bit to kind of find your path and realize that it's just something you got to accommodate and figure out along the journey to whatever it is you want to do, rather than just like let it kind of dictate your life, if that's how you're thinking about it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that was
love
good.
everybody. Live to roll fam, y'all are awesome. Y'all make me mentally healthier by being here and supporting me. Really love all the comments and just all the support. you guys give us, because it feels awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great to have the support of the Live Troll fam and all you guys here, and we hope that you can take something from this and can help you in your mental health battles. So, um, yeah,
If
uh,
you find yourself in need of a new wheelchair, we got a sponsor that you need to hear about. Let's give a big shout out to mobility professionals and thank them for making our lives easier by providing rehabilitation equipment, getting it to us, helping us navigate this difficult healthcare system that we all have to be a part of. But again, making our lives easier by taking the burden and helping us get the devices that we need to stay healthy and stay active and stay mentally healthy by feeling independent and functional in our daily lives. So, big shout out to mobility professionals. If you find yourself in need of a new wheelchair, other related rehabilitation equipment, uh, give them a call, go check out their website, get in touch with somebody because you certainly won't regret it. And their sister company, Urology Professionals, similarly, if you find yourself in need of any urological supplies, namely catheters for the spinal cord injured population, um, make sure to make this process as simple and easy for you by going and checking out Urology Professionals. They're a national brand, so anywhere in the United States, you can reach out to them and they can help you get you the urological supplies that you need to stay healthy and stay happy, and they'll make the process super simple and easy for you. Nobody should struggle or need catheters in this day and age because they are provided by any and all insurances. Sometimes it's just a matter of navigating the system, but they have trained uh, professionals that are more than happy and excited to help get you what you need um, in a timely manner. So go check
yeah,
them out. You know what I'm
they're
saying?
awesome companies. They're amazing people, and they support us. They support the community. So please go visit their website, give them a call, and tell them Live to Roll sent you.
If you
Oops.
want to come and hang out Wednesday nights, we do a little bit of gaming. On the Live to Roll channel. Me and the crew, we got the whole Live to Roll crew gaming every Wednesday night. It's honestly super fun. It's usually like 5 or 6 of us online playing together, hanging out, a bunch of other people in the chat. It really is a fun time where we just chill, for 3 hours and game and shoot the shit and have some fun. So if you find yourself online looking for something fun and entertaining, come and hang out with us. I promise you won't regret it.
Yeah, it's a fun little hangout. You guys are a cool group to watch.
And we got the Women's Disability Show. No, Rolling Over the Hill this Thursday, right?
This Thursday
And
we got Rolling Over the Hill, the fourth Thursday.
And we have a little bit of a
check,
surprise on
check out the two
Thursday.
Bobbies
So
and
yeah,
a little bit of
we have a
surprise.
surprise. So check us out on Thursday with a little bit of some news from Rolling Over the Hill show, and we also have a guest this week, our good friend Mickey Fowler. She's going to be joining us, and she's been hurt
Awesome.
for over 40 years, and a little bit of talking about kids after a disability and having kids
Hey,
and
yo, I
kids.
gotta go. My ride's here. I don't mean to
All
bail
right, buddy.
early. I'm gonna let Sean and Bobby wrap it up. Hey, love you guys. Love the Literal fam. Sean, Bobby, talk to y'all later.
Later,
Literal
Take
Tom.
care.
fam. Catch
All
y'all
right, bro. We'll talk
tomorrow.
to you.
Amen. Bye.
Later, man. All right. So yeah, we'll wrap it up. But yeah, Bobby will be on this Thursday. Has a cool guest talking about kids with a disability or raising kids, having kids after your injury, even before. Because Mickey had one before and a couple after, so it'll be a cool
Uh,
conversation.
yeah, two before, one after.
Or
Yeah,
two before, my
yeah, my
bad.
bad. Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be great. And then next week, Brianna will be back on with the women for the first Thursday, I think, of the month. Is that the first? I'll have to check the date. But on the first and third Thursdays, Brianna's on with the women. Awesome topics. They always have great shows. They had a really good one last week, also about mental health. So if you're looking for some more info, go watch that as well. And then, like always, we are back every Tuesday. We'll be back next Tuesday. And come join us, hang out in the chat, be part of our community. It's always a good time. We love having you guys here. We love hanging out. So thanks for joining. What time is what, Mario? Most of the shows are at 3 or 3:30, and then except for Tom's Gaming, that's at 5. So 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So
On Wednesday.
on
Every
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
But all right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys
Thank you.
next week, and live to roll, everyone.
Take care.